this computer. Okay. So, like I said, try to stay away from anything that's already going to give it a dot pattern, because then when we go to change it to halftone, it may not translate properly. So if I'm going to go here, and I normally don't like trace or anything, but if you are wanting to trace, you can put your image in there and then just trace right over it. I'm going to go with like an HB pencil. Actually, I'm going to do an inking first. Where's my, I like this. I think this is the one that I like. Let me change my color to black. Yeah. So like I could be drawing, so like Tegan, there's nothing to stop me from having a flat part of the piece, but maybe think about how you might combine it with other techniques as well. So like, let's say I do want my drawing to be flat. Okay, so then we look at that, and there's my drawing. It's flat, it's two-dimensional, right? That doesn't mean that I cannot have tonal effects in my piece, but maybe the tonal effects are not necessarily used to render my form. Maybe my tonal effects are something like that. So Tegan, I don't know if that opens any doors for you or not, but those shading and things like that are going to translate better in CMYK. So like, let's say I wanted to play with magenta, and then let's get some blue in here. Actually, I'm going to put that on a different layer. Is that my airbrush? Yeah. So as I'm doing this, I'm just like sort of tapping that. Okay. So I could still make a flat, hard image, and then like maybe I decide to add a layer here. And oops. Maybe I decide, you know what, I'm going to color the couch neon green. I'm going to switch back to inking. Let's try this one. That one. Okay, that one. All right. So I'm going to color my couch. And I know that you can select in Photoshop or select on here and fill it. So if I go to my layers, I can turn these off, and you can see that I erased stuff that I didn't. And just keep in mind, I drew this real fast, so don't judge me too hard. So if this is a flat drawing, then, you know, it's not like not have flat drawings, but it's really not going to give you as much for the CMYK process. So, you know, you could do something like this, or you could, you know, maybe put it in a photographic setting in your background or something like that. So those might be different ways to like rethink how you're going to really embrace that CMYK process. Okay.
So maybe I decide I want to draw something that has more of a shaded effect.
And so I'm just lightly shading on top of the green. But it works really well for photographs, and it works really well for like drawings and paintings and things like that. And so it doesn't necessarily have to be shaded like the side of a pencil. You can also draw with mark making as well in your imagery. And so I'm going to go in here with the green using this like complementary. Turn my opacity down some so the green doesn't take over. So the thing that's nice about Procreate is if pressing hard is giving you too much, if you change that opacity down, you don't really have to worry about like your hand pressure as much. Like you can get away with what still looks like a very, very sensitive mark with a lot of pressure just by playing with opacity of the material. So I go back to the pink. The opacity is already turned down on the pink. And I'm just going over those back cushions. And I'm going to turn this off now just so I can see it better. Turn that up bigger. And so once you get that source image out of the way, it's a lot easier to see here. So it's a lot easier to see, you know, what it is that you're actually drawing and doing digitally. So think about your colors that you're using, because again, really bright, vibrant colors are going to show through. And think about if you're drawing with tools that are more associated with like traditional drawing and painting, and thinking about more like three-dimensional forms as you construct your image. And that will really let the CMYK like do a lot of work for you. And this is just like a very, very basic gesture drawing, right? Which that's the thing that's cool too, is like if you just want to have like a gesture drawing as part of your pieces, that's fine too. But yeah, definitely something to think about as you're working. So yeah.